is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Level Up, the show where I give you all the tips and tricks and techniques to take your training to the next level. This week, we're going to be looking at another gym staple, a lower body exercise that we've seen done since time immemorial, and that is the lunge. With an exercise like the lunge that we've seen for so long, it's easy to wonder, how can we level it up? Well, I'm here to answer that today. And I'm going to show you a few different variations that can help to modify and hone in on particular goals for you and your clients. As always, if you like this episode, be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and share this with another fit pro you think might benefit from a little leveling up. On today's episode, we're not going to do just one quick tip. I'm going to show you a few different variations to change the emphasis of the lunge and help make it more athletic, help make it more quad dominant, or hip dominant. All in the name of helping you and your clients get the most out of your training and optimize for whatever the desired outcome may be. With an exercise like the lunge, there's so many different changes we can make that I want to first start off by showing you our base variation. This base variation is simple. We want to take a long enough step, that way we can achieve a 90-degree angle at both the front and back knees, maintain a mostly vertical torso, stepping up to the middle, and transitioning into our next step. Now that we have our base lunge laid out, let me go into our first variation. I want to show you how to take that base variation and modify it to make it more quadricep dominant to help your clients target the front of the quadriceps and develop them even more. So what we do to make it more quadricep dominant, shorten up that step so that way my front knee achieves a deeper than 90-degree angle. The deeper the angle here at the knee in particular is going to involve more and more quadricep. While we do so, we want to maintain a pretty vertical torso and trying to keep our hips and hamstrings out of it by not letting my pelvis rotate forward and not flex too much at the hips. So as we step through, we're going to transition to the next step, just like we did on our original variation. And this is going to maintain more tension on those quadriceps. Another thing we can add to this to maintain a little bit more constant tension is not locking out. By not locking out, what we do is we keep the tension loaded on the quadriceps as we go from one leg to the next. With gravity and no additional weight, if we stand all the way up and lock out, we end up in more of an unloaded position as far as the actual torque on the quadricep. Now that we talked about making it more quadricep dominant, the second variation I'm going to give you is turning it into a more hamstring dominant. So what we'll do conversely to what we did with the quadricep variation is to take a much longer step, allow for less knee bend as little as possible, and instead allow my torso to flex forward, placing the point of rotation of the body there at the hip and hamstring, allowing them to take over the load. Here we can come up a little bit more because the glutes work to extend the hip. As we come to the top, we can kind of consciously contract the glutes before we step over, and this keeps it more focused on that posterior chain. The third and final variation we're going to go over today is to show you how to turn this lunge into something a little more athletic and a little more functional as far as total body integration. But we're not going to necessarily favor the quadricep or the hamstring. We're going to favor more of our base variation as far as steps go. This is going to help us keep that well-rounded, more functional, integrated version of the lunge. Now, the thing that's going to make it more athletic is instead of keeping my torso just upright down the center, we're actually going to rotate down and over that front leg. As I rotate down, I want to think to consciously load the outside of that front working glute. And as I press through, we're going to explode through the ground, come up, and transfer right into the next step. The reason this is the more athletic of the variations is because by integrating that rotation and that kind of explosive concentric portion from the bottom, we're mimicking more closely what would happen if we were running or having to bound in a sport. Because if you're running or bounding and you're not rotating and moving your shoulders or moving your rib cage, you are losing out on the ability to produce a lot more force. Now, none of these versions are inherently superior to the others. As long as you're performing these lunges with good technique, good intention, and good intensity, you're going to get results. All of them are just used in different scenarios. So it's up to us to know our variations and apply them when need be. All right, that's it for this week's episode. We talked over the lunge, the base variation, our quadricep variation, our hamstring variation, and our athletic variation. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like, leave a comment, and let me know what exercises you think could benefit from a little leveling up. Consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at KIPS Online. Hit that bell icon to be notified of all of our latest uploads. For the Level Up and KIPS, I'm Coach Ron, and I'll see you next time.